Okay, in life, there was 4 Marys, right? 2 of them claimed they loved me, were fucking liars. And 2 I liked, they didn't like me. Those are the 4 main Marys in my life. And I have Marys in my family who, you know, are my aunts and whatever. I know one aunt named Mary and things like this. And of course there's the Virgin Mary. Okay? That word Mary, you know, Merry fucking go round. Merry fucking Christmas, you know? It would haunt me the rest of my life. I'd see a Vin Raines movie where he says, "Why my Mary?" A good question. So, what happened with my ex-fiancée, some of you might want to know. Make a long story short, she was in a secret society, and she was Greek, they basically told her, because of my videos, that she's going to have to prove her loyalty to them, and she did these rituals with them. Now, it's a long story how I figured all this stuff out, and I really don't want to get into it. It's disturbing. I really don't want to think about it more than I really have to, but I'm going to try to cover this quickly, get it over with, add it to the other clip, be done. Basically, the American guys, there's Greek Americans and there's other Americans, you know, but especially the Greek Americans. And I've never gone out and beat up Greeks for this or nothing like that, but yes, they are, the Greek community in America, you know, are partially to blame for betraying me. And there's nothing they can ever do to make that right. But they collaborated with the secret societies here, the Masons, law enforcement, the surveillance grid, you know, the Patriot Act bitches and all those scumbags. And, you know, they basically said, you know what, this guy's making these videos. And so she did some rituals over there. She started dating the guys, you know, several different guys that they almost certainly planted in her life. I don't know for sure, but almost certainly. And basically the secret societies took my ex-fiancée from me. She left me several times. You know, she would leave me without saying bye, come back a year later. I'd forgive her, make her promise not to do it again. She'd do it again. And the reason why she did this is because I had told her many times, if you ever leave me, I'm going to kill myself. You know? And they were watching me. You know, this is probably when the gang stalking really started. Back in like 2008, 2007, something like that. And especially 2009. They're watching me, how it would affect me. Okay? So, she actually came back, I believe 2010, late 2010, one last time. And, you know, the last time she, it was either the last time or the time before that, she had a baby because she'd been sleeping around so much. Okay? And basically what she had told me, you know, she told me that I know why it didn't work out. And I'm almost certain that she was referring to me exposing secret societies and naming the Greeks in Illuminati Part 1, which doesn't make entirely a lot of sense. See, what had happened is I was talking about secret societies in chat rooms. I was going way out of my way. Hispanic chat, African American chat, what have you, okay? And we had met in the chat room. She had a lot of friends from the chat rooms. She still went to the chat rooms, you know, to see her friends there. And hip-hop chat and what have you. When Yahoo Chat had chat rooms, they shut them down eventually. And I would get on the microphone. There was this microphone in the room that everybody, you know, you could get on the microphone. People kind of battle for the mic. You'd hold it down for a while, and eventually somebody else would get their turn, and then they'd hold it for a while. And those programs that help people hold it down longer and a little bit shit like that. But anyway, whenever I could, I would get there and I'd start talking about it. And people would be like, here he goes again. You know, they'd want to talk about something else. I'd try to make them hear me out. I'm like, look, you know, you people are talking about a little bitch shit. There's a fucking conspiracy. There's Illuminati's doing this, that, and the other thing. You know, there's secret societies manipulating, and you know, some people wanted to hear it. A lot of people didn't. Some people were just quiet and they just didn't want to ruffle any feathers. A lot of people, you know, had beef. Some people, before I even started talking about it, they didn't like me already, and I gave them an excuse to start bitching. So anyway, when I finally made Illuminati Part 1 on YouTube, late August 2009, you know, I started off by saying, whites long ago, the Greeks especially, used to go to Egypt and learn. Okay? Now, this actually is mainstream history for the Greeks. There isn't a Greek historian that would argue this. I've never met one. I doubt one would even exist. And I've talked to Greek historians and things of this nature. You know, some of them believe that the Egyptians are actually, you know, Greek, you know, before the Ptolemies, and that's we won't get into that. Anyway, listen, this is how it started.
Okay, a few deities are important: Molech and Baal, and I'll get into them later.
Then this is what I
also Osiris, Horus, and Amun-Ra. Now, whites long ago, the Greeks specifically, used to go to Egypt and learn, including Herodotus. They used to travel down the rivers.
All right, so I'll talk about the, you know, the Nile Delta, the little mini rivers they had that led to the Nile. Okay, so I said whites long ago, the Greeks specifically. Okay, she was fucking Greek. Now, I wasn't exactly shedding any tears exposing this, you know, because she had left me several times before that. You can kind of tell that I have this kind of drunk, wary look to me back then. You know, I was a miserable fuck. So, you know, she had left me many times, you know, it had fucked with my head. You know, I pretty much was sad, you know. I don't think I was ever suicidal at any point, but they honestly believed that they could get me to commit suicide by manipulating my feelings. Like, she would come back and I'd feel good, right? And then she's gone again. I'm like, where'd she go? I start panicking. They knew that I was like that. They knew I'd go to the chat room, start asking all our friends, you know, have you seen her? And, you know, where she could, you know, panicking, especially the first time when I didn't know what happened to her. But after that, I was kind of like, oh, she's doing it again. She did that maybe 3 or 4 times. They wanted me to feel good and, you know, I feel at ease and feel like, you know, I'm getting my life back together, and then she leaves and wanted me to be devastated again. They were hoping that I would kill myself. The first 2 times were their major attempts. After that, they pretty much figured that we're giving this guy hope that she'll come back, you know. And after maybe 2010, she never came back again. Especially when they shut down the chat rooms, it reduced the likelihood of me ever contacting her again, you know. So, yeah, every time she would promise that she wouldn't do it again, and that she would say that she respects me for forgiving her, and she'd say that I'm such a good person, and so on and so forth, you know. And yeah, so she knew that I was a good guy and that she was a fucking traitor who had done all these horrible things to me. And I think that was the major reason she never said bye. And she would always come back, like, she would say things, but she would have this look to her. It was this very mysterious, secret society kind of look that she had after she started leaving me and coming back. You know, whenever she come back, this kind of guilty, trying to have a neutral face, secret society kind of look. You know, this. She felt bad. You know, she felt bad for what she was doing. But her father and her family were all secret society people. You know, her father owned a jewelry shop, you know, and he knew a lot of these secret society people. I believe she was part Italian, part Greek. And her dad knew these, you know, mafia guys and secret society guys. And, you know, he was heavily into that underworld type of thing, well respected in Greece, you know. You know, among his circles. So, you know, so that, you know, they wanted me to die for a long time. They wanted me to kill myself. And, you know, one time when my parents, you know, in 2012, when they sent me to La Selva, they cleaned out my room. They wanted me to, you know, they tried to get me to quit smoking weed, live in a fucking halfway house, try to make it on my own, with all these student loans that I was going to eventually have to pay, and just really starting off in a great disadvantage. And, you know, my parents basically disowning me. That's another time they wanted me to commit suicide, specifically, because they knew that I wasn't stupid, that I knew I was being treated unfairly. They knew that without any doubt. And they figured that, hey, if we make him feel like we've completely destroyed his life, he'll kill himself. So the first plan was really to get me to kill myself or my ex-fiance. Then was to kill myself because they had, you know, fucked up my life. And then after that, there were several times where they tried to hit me with a car. There was one time when I have it on video where they put a snake under, they pinned a snake under my old punching bag, so that when I lifted it up to move it, you know, that the snake would try to strike me. There's times where they provoked me, and they thought that I might resist law enforcement when they came to get me. There was many times when they set me up to get hurt or to get killed, and there's times where they flat out tried to get me to kill myself or tried to run me over. There's at least 2 times they tried to run me over. I can think of one by El Rancho Verde in East San Jose, one by La Selva. And, you know, there was a lot of, you know, and then, you know, it was just a lot of stuff that they put me through, you know, and it's like, you know, you might say, well, why do they do this? If you look at the history of Masonry, it's full of people getting killed or dying mysteriously for exposing Masonry. Those famous guys, like a couple hundred years ago or something, I forgot, this one guy, this one case is supposed to be this real famous case. You know, he tried to expose it. He died mysteriously. And, you know, it was mostly, you know, people of the time pretty much knew that he was killed by them. Because there are Masons and people in secret societies in my family, you know, my family is almost, it's almost like they're obliged to help them out, to prove that they're not helping me out. Especially because the type of information I'm given, the insights I have, it begs the question, you know, is somebody guiding him to the right sites? You know, how does he put it together like this? It's almost like he's in a secret society exposing it, you know, and they can tell by the way I say what I say that I'm uncontrolled opposition. You know, it's a no-brainer. When you see somebody actually telling the truth about it in a very definitive manner, you know, there's no way around it. He's uncontrolled. And especially because these people in their networks, they kind of know who's who and things of this nature. So when they started asking around as well, it confirmed their suspicion. Yeah, so with my ex-fiance, man, you know, you gotta see that when you look at the type of women I've been with too, there's no argument the opposition view can make. You know, I've had them try to tell me while I was going to University of Phoenix, you know, it's one person who's related to one of the females they tried to set me up with, was the one who told me, you know, you should try to lower your standards, you know, to meet your intimacy needs. We had a class on intimacy needs, okay? But when you look at, you know, the type of females I've been with in my past, I've been with, you know, I've settled for, you know, I've dated women, I've settled, I've been miserable, but I've also dated very attractive women, 8s, 9s, 10s. My ex-fiance was pretty much a 10 when she was, you know, when she was in the best shape of her life, she was pretty much a 10. When she was in the worst shape, when she was with me, she was probably like a high 8 or a 9, you know. So not only does it go against my philosophy to settle, but I've been with, you know, like the top 1% of women, you know, as far as attractiveness on this fucking planet. So it's insane to tell someone like me to lower their standards. And I'd go as far as to say, I wouldn't tell anybody to lower your standards. You know, it's like, if you really have to get pussy, then you should look inside yourself and say, well, what am I capable of getting? You know, and don't judge it by money, judge it by natural attractiveness. That's the scale we really should use, not achievement in an artificial system, in a system made by man, a man-made system, a concrete jungle. But say, you know, am I a good person naturally? Am I handsome naturally? Things of this nature, you know, and then act accordingly, you know. But first and foremost, I mean, that is like if you really feel like you have to have sex and really feel like you have to see somebody. But first and foremost, you shouldn't settle. You should, you know, go after your passion and your love. Well, I'm almost out of time now. You know, I figured I'd share these stories. You know, I've gone over these things pretty much before. One thing it does is that my viewers, you know, it shows that these people, it's not in their best interest to do this. Because I know part of what they do is they try to hook up their unattractive family members with targeted individuals. And it's part of the little game they play. And so, you know, by me getting the word out, I'm not only, you know, reaffirming in my own mind what I know and what I am going to do no matter what, but I'm also spreading the word, and so it's blowing up in their face. I make sure everything they do blows up in their face. I'm out of time.